Hey there, my name is sjofors, and you may also know me as the Price Whisperer, one of the world's leading authorities on how you price a product or a service. Now, today I'm going to talk about something very different. I'm going to talk about something that very few people think about, and it's going to be first expressed in a question. And I'd like you to consider this question. And the question is, what is the purpose of a company? Sounds pretty basic, right? But when you think about it, it is not. Most entrepreneurs start companies because they want to make money. They want to make money as an ongoing company in terms of salaries and commissions and shareholder distributions. Many hope that they can sell the company and make money that way. We have investors of different kinds. They hope to make money also in the form of shareholder distributions or dividends if you eventually make the company big enough so you can go public. And also to sell the company maybe eventually and make money that way, make a return on investment. This also goes for those in a company that may both be employees and shareholders. Maybe they have stock options, or maybe they have other ways of how shall I say, profit from the success of the company, profit sharing of different kinds. But there may also be other altruistic reasons for starting a company, because you want to help a certain kinds of people. You want to provide support. This could be anything from helping starving children to helping people on the street to support a political or a religious movement in different ways. So it's not about money in this case, but it's about an altruistic need. But that is not, neither of these is the purpose of a company. And you have to think about it, if you really look at it from the very top level. The sole purpose of a company is to create a customer. Think about that. The purpose of a company is to create a customer. If a company cannot create a customer, all of the above will not happen. There will be no money to spend on salaries and commissions and shareholder distributions and so forth. There will be no money to provide a return on investment for those who invested in the company. There will be no money for the company who is there for an altruistic purpose to do the support that the companies say they're going to do. Help the starving children. Support the political or religious not organization, but movement that they want to support. The sole purpose of a company is to create a customer. Now, what does that really mean? Well, if you think about it, it means many things. But first off, in order to create a customer, they need to be a potential customer that has a problem or that has a need that potential customer wants to have solved or wants to have fulfilled. I look at my company, I look at my own personal lives. I have problems that as we all do, that are minor. They're not really worthwhile trying to solve in any way. I have needs. Some needs are worthwhile having fulfilled. Other needs are not worth really having fulfilled. So they're just minor. So the first step in order to create a customer is to have a number of individuals or a number of companies that has a problem that they think is significant enough that they want a solution to. They want the problem to go away. And likewise, individuals or companies that has a need that is significant enough that they want that need to be fulfilled. So that's the first thing. The second thing when we look at this is that you, as a company, need to be able to solve that problem, whatever the problem is. Maybe the problem can be solved by products or by services or by consulting of different kinds, maybe. But there need to be a way in which you can solve that potential customer's problem. There obviously also needs to be a way that you can fulfill that need of a potential customer in different ways. There are all different ways you can solve problems, all different ways you can fulfill needs. But in order to take sort of the next step in creating a customer, you need to have the ability to solve that problem, to fulfill that need. Thirdly, there need to be a way in which those potential customers can learn about your ability to solve the problem, about your ability to fulfill that need. So this is marketing, right? How you reach out to the marketplace so that those with the problems you can solve, the needs you can fulfill, become aware about your company and how those problems can be solved, how those needs can be fulfilled. And obviously we know there are many marketing channels. They're online, they're offline, they're words of mouth, there's all different ways. But it becomes then important that you as a company know where your potential customers want to learn about how you can solve their needs, how you can solve their needs or problems, and how you can fulfill their needs. So not only do you need to know where they want to learn, but they obviously want to know and learn how it can be done. So that's number 3. Number 4 is there need to be a way in which you, the company, can meet physically or metaphysically that potential customer to solve the problem that the potential customer has, to fulfill the need the potential customer has. It doesn't matter if you find that there are loads of potential customers where your particular problem-solving solution need to be delivered in person, and they are half a world away. Right? So there need to be a way in which the potential customer and you and your company can meet. And of course, I'm not saying that it has to be meeting in person. It could be meeting online in different ways. Meeting, of course, also mean that that potential customer buys a product from a channel that they have access to. Again, it doesn't help any of you if you have selected a channel that the potential customer doesn't use. Then your solution to their problem, your ability to fulfill their need, is not going to be met. So the customer will continue to be a potential customer and not an actual customer. So it's a little bit more complex than you may think. And number 5, price. And that, of course, is the expertise of me and my company. But you have to think about that there has to be an agreeable price. Now, when you solve a potential customer's problem, when you fulfill a potential customer's unmet needs, there is a value transfer. You add value to the potential customer, and the potential customers provides a monetary compensation in one way or another to your company. It's a value transfer. And in order for that value transfer to happen, there need to be an agreeable, mutually agreeable, I should say, level of how that value transfer happen. The potential customer will have a perception of value, that it is worthwhile for the potential customer to have that need being met, to have that problem being solved. There's a figure in their head, maybe not an exact figure, but there is a figure. And if your price is too low, they won't believe you can actually deliver on your promise, so they won't buy. Likewise, if the price is higher than they expected, their perception of value, they won't buy either. So there has to be a meeting of the minds in terms of what value it is for the potential customer to have the problem solved, to have the need fulfilled. And in your case, to have that, to deliver the product, the solution, whatever it is, to solve the problem, and to meet that unfulfilled need to make it met. Right? So if there is not an agreeable price for that value transfer, also there won't be a value transfer. You won't get the money, and they won't get the problem solved or the need met. Right? So, but the reason I'm bringing this up, the sort of the 5 steps, if you like, that there need to be a problem or a need. You need to be able to solve the problem or meet the need. There need to be a channel which the prospective customer can learn about your company and how you would solve their problem and meet their needs. There need to be a method for which you and the prospective customer can actually meet, quote unquote, to do that value transfer. And then at the final stage, there need to be a price for that value transfer that is agreeable to both parties. But when you start, and this is why I wanted to bring this up and ask the question, what is the purpose of a company? Because it starts when you start to look at your company from the lens of what is the purpose of our company. A lot of things are going to change. And you're really going to put your potential customer in the center of the whole organization. Right? Because you want to make sure that at all levels in your company, people in the company have that in the forefront, that the purpose is to create a customer. And obviously to maintain a customer once the customer has become a customer, right? Or a potential customer have become a customer. So it changes a whole company's focus, really, to be very, very customer centric. And that's, of course, what you want, because the more customer centric you are, the better you can solve the problem that potential customers has, the better you will be in fulfilling the needs potential customers has. Right? And that is where growth comes from. And also, when you are able to meet all these 5 steps that I just mentioned, you have the ability to, the value, the perceived value that the customer will see in your solution will be higher. So you will have a level of pricing power. The value perceptions will be higher, and therefore that potential customer will be willing to pay a higher price to become an actual customer, leading for you to have more resource to drive growth in your company, and therefore fulfill the needs and solve the problems for even more potential customers. So it drives growth. All right, that was all for today. I hope you found this maybe a little odd, but also maybe shaking up a little bit about how we think about our businesses in the light of customers and growth and so forth, and what is really needed to find a customer and create a customer. All right, that was it for today. Looking forward to see you next time on the next video. Thank you.